MacVoices is sponsored by Smile and PDF Pen 9, the best way to do more with your PDF documents, including optical character recognition, search and replace, secure redacting, highlighting features, and much more. Get all the details and download a free trial at smilesoftware.com. MacVoices is in San Jose for AltConf and WWDC. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Ed of EPage, who is a speaker at AltConf as well as a developer, and we're going to find out what he's going to be speaking about and what he develops. Ed, it's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me about EPage. What does EPage offer?
Well, we're a consulting company. We started this business back in the 90s, 93, back when the web was really young, and we were just basically building services for the back end. We had a lot of clients that came to us, and we built a bunch of different services. Before eBay or Auction Web and Craigslist, we made a classified ad service. That was kind of our first big claim, and we did a lot ever since. But in the mid-2000s, we kind of shifted over to mobile. So today, most of our work is in the iOS and Android development space.
So were you that prescient, or did it just kind of happen that you decided to migrate to mobile where everything is really hot?
Well, I think in that time we were getting bored in some ways. The web had stagnated. There really wasn't a lot of innovation going on. Web 2.0 was just sort of Ajax call, and that was about it in the mid-2000s. So we didn't know if there was going to be a lot of future there. A lot of the services and stuff we were starting to develop had been commoditized and were kind of turnkey, out-of-the-box stuff. So we thought there's got to be something more. We were looking at Palm Pilots and Zoruses and says maybe there's something here. And then in 2007 we got the iPhone, and it's like, that's it. That's where we got to go. And so
never look back.
No.
So it's interesting that it's hard to think of the web as being stagnant, but I guess from your side of the coin where you work, yeah, it probably was and maybe still is to some degree.
Well, I think it's got a new vibrancy now. The new web tech that's coming out between some of the platforms that provide for these reactive environments and new types of web apps that are really kind of melding with the mobile space. I think that's invigorated a whole new set of developers and new ways we can build things and integrate together. And the mobile space, definitely, every time you come to WW or AltConf or something, you learn all kinds of new features, and you got to say, hey, how can I use this in my next application?
It's like those of us who are not developers, I think, looking at all these apps and thinking, wow, what could I do with this app? And you just are a little bit downstream of that, where you're looking and saying, what can I do to help these people do this stuff?
That's very true, in the sense we're also developing our own services. So we recognize as a developer and contract developer, a lot of the services that are out there now have kind of got matured, and there's a lot more in-corporate development work. We're looking for something that's a little bit broader, so we're starting to look at some services that we want to provide for the communities. One of them I'm actually wearing. This is a beacon. It's for our Gaggle service at getgaggle.com, and it's just in the early testing phases right now, but the idea of the service is you can keep groups together. So imagine school field trips for elementary kids, tour groups, elder care, special needs, any outdoor activities where people are worried about others maybe straying away. And so these little iBeacon devices, little Bluetooth, that communicates with a cell phone app, either iOS or Android, that the chaperones would have, and get alerted when the person in the group might have drifted away a little too far. And that way they can find out where you were, talk to the other chaperones, say, okay, they were over here, or maybe they've moved over to another chaperone and say, no, you're supposed to be with me. And then it can escalate. You can say, hey, if somebody's really missing, we send out broader alerts and such, but it gives a lot of sense of security. I know there are parents out there that are nervous about sending their kids on some field trips because they don't really know how secure that's going to be. And this just kind of adds that level of protection and security for them.
It's a great example of the little things, the little niche issues that you're trying to solve that not everybody has, but there are enough of them that you can turn into a business, and in the case of that, especially with kids, a very important business. Yeah,
and we recognize the potential there very early. It took a lot of work to build the tech, to kind of get all the infrastructure understood, but the appeal was there, and everybody we talked to said, I want that. And that really gave us the motivation to say, let's keep pushing through this. We're going to get this solved.
So I make sure we get this right. Getgaggle.com?
Yep. Yeah, with 2 G's.
All right, very nice, very nice. So what are you doing to be talking about here at AltConf?
Okay, well, I'm here speaking tomorrow. My topic is solving intractable problems. And
that's pretty big.
It's pretty broad space, but I've been an engineer for over 30 years, and I've come up with my fair share of these problems that at first glance say, you can't do that. We're never going to be able to figure this out. But when you break it down, when you involve other people, when you really think about the goals of what you're trying to achieve, it says this is worthwhile. We need to be able to get to the end point, so how do we get there? And so I picked 3 particular topics from my career, spanning about a decade apart each. One was when I was in the aerospace industry. Another was when I was just starting off with iOS development. And then the most recent one is actually a problem we just solved a few months ago, which is in the mapping space, which is kind of an interesting area that I don't think anybody really paid much attention to, but I'm a business partner. We both had similar experience where we were in a park or a garden area and realized the Apple map really wasn't telling us where we were. All we saw were trees, for example, and you really couldn't get a good guidance, but we had this great paper map. How can we take that paper map and make a digital version of it that we can then have around like a portable You Are Here experience? And then you can augment that with where's everybody else in your group, or what are the activities that are going on in that group. And the traditional way of doing that, making little map tiles, and didn't really appeal to us. We love the paper map. The paper map is engaging and informative and attractive, and we wanted to be able to figure out how to take that kind of distorted view of the world and yet still place your actual physical latitude, longitude right onto that map. It was a big engineering challenge and technical challenge to figure out how to make that work. Thankfully, I'm happy to say we've solved that. We've got that working. We have one of our clients is going to be using this in a few weeks at a big EDC carnival over in Las Vegas. It's a huge rave at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But I think they're very pleased the fact that we've had this tech and to be able to make this possible. And we're looking to partner with others or bring this into marketplace. So our next challenge is marketing this tech.
So let me get this straight. So we're talking about an analog piece of paper?
Well, we take the piece of paper and we digitize it. So you still have the same nice map that looks really good, but you've now got it on your phone. And you can just kind of look at it from that same perspective. But we're figuring out where on that map you actually are. Imagine like a Disneyland map that doesn't look anything like reality. But if you had to figure out where you were on there, your latitude and longitude don't map to those same spaces. We want to be able to place you into that map, sort of a reverse augmented reality kind of space, put you into the virtual space.
Well, I mean, that is interesting, and I can certainly see where it would be beneficial, especially in those areas where they're not traditional landmarks or anything like that, like a Disney World.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the ability to have the dynamic nature, you have a group, people can separate out and you'll be able to see exactly where they are within a park space. The ability to have ephemeral events. If there was a parade popping up, it could show up right on your map and you could see where it was. If there was a lecture going on in a garden, that thing could just pop up on the map and say, I'm going to go see that, and just make your way over there, and you'll be able to navigate to these places and interact with them. So when you're in an area that, say it's a cactus garden and you want to know more about various cactuses that are there, that interactive nature can be built right into the app. We're calling it VX Technology. I think we have the domain set up already. VXTechnologies.com is brand new, so we're just getting all of our stuff put onto there.
So this is probably an unfair question, but you've indicated you've been around doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Your enthusiasm has not waned, clearly.
Yeah.
What is it that keeps you motivated? Is it just the cool factor that we can do all this stuff now that maybe you've wanted to do for a long time?
I think in some ways, I've always been a tinkerer, and the ability to actually say, hey, now I have the tools to make things, not just for myself, but for others, and to see those things used in the world, that's a huge motivator to be able to say, hey, I use that, I love this. And I think going forward, as an engineer, we're all problem solvers, and be able to solve not just my problems, but other people's problems is, that's what keeps me going.
That's cool. So one more time, the website where people go to learn more about everything you do, or at least some of the stuff you do, because there's so much, is?
We have a site at apps.epage.com. ePage is our company. It's more of our consulting side of the business. GetGaggle.com is for our Gaggle service that we're introducing, and VXTechnologies.com is where the new mapping technology will be.
Great. It's a lot to go check out.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on.
Hey, thank you so much for the time. I know it's a busy AltConf, especially for somebody like you with that much enthusiasm, so really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Folks, more from AltConf and WWDC in San Jose. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the MacVoices blog, the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.